Hi everyone, I am back again. And today I'm going to be doing the Synastry chart between Jaguar Wright and Diddy. I've had a lot of requests for this, so I'm finally getting to it. The first thing I noticed in her natal chart, she has Mercury conjuncting Chiron, Anifia, Sedna, Nemesis, Medea, and Machiavelli. This is very interesting because Mercury is the thinking and talking planet, and Chiron has to do with pain. So in her interactions with her talking and how she conveys the following energies, there's painful experiences associated with it. Specifically, Anifia, that has to do with sexual abuse. Now, I do remember her saying that she was a dominatrix or she worked in the sex industry. So this would explain that energy. So she either had painful experiences with this or she inflicted pain on other people, which would coincide with the dominatrix part. Now there's Sedna and Nemesis as well. And Sedna has to do with betrayal and separation associated with Nemesis, which also has to do with betrayal and an enemy-like behavior. So she's talked about this, the betrayal in the industry and enemy-like behavior from other people associated with Anifia that has to do with sexual abuse. But it could also mean that she is becoming an enemy towards Diddy, or has become one, and there's revenge involved with her talking about this because that's what Medea represents. And Machiavelli is there as well. Now, this asteroid has to do with being very savvy, street smart, a trickster, or she's a smooth operator, and it can also mean immoral behavior. So she's not exactly an angel herself, but she's coming out talking about all of these things, all of these energies associated with these asteroids in the industry. Like I said, the sexual abuse, she's becoming an enemy, exposing it, and there's revenge involved. Now, is she telling the truth? Well, I will get to that. Her Mercury is trining his Ascapulus, and that has to do with talebearing and gossiping. But before I talk about the truth-telling and is she lying, I'm going to run through everything systematically because I want to go over everything and it'll eventually form a picture. Now, her sun is conjuncting her Wright asteroid at 0 degrees, and Wright is her last name. And this is at 0 degrees, the tightest orb. So this proves that asteroids are just not coincidental. They show up, and this is a validation that that's her last name, and it's conjuncting her sun. Now, his Saturn conjuncts her Mercury. Saturn has the energies of being, there's a binding effect, a restrictive influence. And since it's conjuncting her Mercury, he may have tried to shut her up in the past, or even now. Maybe his lawyer will tell her to knock it off. But Jay-Z's Saturn also conjuncts her Mercury as well. And it's a generational planet. So there's a lot of people, I think, that don't want her to talk, that tried to shut her up. Now, this whole asteroid party of hers with her Mercury, it opposes his Mercury. So there's this back and forth talking and communication about everything that she talked about on the interview with Piers Morgan. Now, his Mercury is conjuncting his Ixion, Mira, and Gangketa. I've talked about these energies in another video between him and Kim Porter or Cassie Ventura. So if you want to watch that video, it's on my playlist. So now there's this back and forth talking about those energies, like I said, but in his natal chart, there's Ixion conjuncting his Mercury, and that energy has to do with murder. And there's Mira there as well, and that Mira has to do with sexual deviant practices. There could be sex trafficking, orgies, and just sexual deviant behaviors. So he's talked about this, or he's thought about, because of Ixion, giving people the dirt nap. In that industry, see how this is starting to form a picture? And also, gang kata is there, and that has to do with gangs. And I think that she had said that he was the mafia boss. So this all makes sense. We've got him talking to other people saying possibly that I don't want this person around anymore. This person should have a dirt nap. I've got the sex trafficking going on, allegedly, and the gangs. Now, his Mercury conjuncts her Lachesis, and Lachesis is a death marker. So he could have said to her, possibly, my opinion, he could have threatened her with the dirt nap if she didn't shut up. But now that he's in prison, I think that she feels much more comfortable doing so. But I don't know if she had, people say that she's been saying this for years, but now it's just way out in the open. Now her Uranus conjuncts his sun, and Uranus has a very unstable energy to it. There's could be shocking events happening, instability, and a shaking things up. And that's what's happening now, because it's conjuncting his sun. Now she has Mars in the sign of Aries. That's domicile, and that's an angry Mars. Lots of power there, and it's conjuncting her Cassandra. And Cassandra has to do with people not believing what you have to say, and she's pissed about it. So if you have Cassandra conjuncting your sun or your moon or your personal planets, people are you're gonna tell a story and you're gonna go on about it, and people are gonna think that, oh, she's crazy, she doesn't know what she's talking about, and they won't believe you. And that's what's happening with her, and she's not happy about it. Because also, her Hase, that's German for hate, it sextiles his sun, a very important luminary. And Hase has to do with hate. So, like I said, she despises him. So now I'm going to get to the part where I think whether she's telling the truth or she's lying. Her truth asteroid conjuncts his right at 0 degrees. Right is her PNA, her last name. And this is at 0 degrees, very tight. You can't get tighter than that. So initially I thought that she was telling the truth. But since her Mercury is trining his Ascapulus, this has to do with, like I said before, tale-bearing, gossiping, exaggerations of the truth. It's like when someone goes fishing and they catch a fish and they say, oh, it was like 10 inches long. I couldn't even believe it. But in reality, it was really like 6 inches long. So that's the way that asteroid Ascapulus plays out. It's like gossiping, you know. You go around telling people something and they pass it along, and then eventually the truth of it is really exaggerated. It's not really how it happened. So there's a gray area here. I think that she's telling the truth in certain circumstances, but she peppers it with exaggerations that twist it into something differently. So don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you what the chart is telling me. Now, her maniac conjuncts his south node, and maniac has to do with a maniacal behavior, acting crazy, and it's conjuncting his south node. So she brought these energies into that relationship, and he almost expected it to happen, because whatever conjuncts your south node, you will feel comfortable with it, and you'll be accepting of it more so than not. Now, his nemesis conjuncts his south node. Whatever conjuncts your south node, it's going to be very comfortable to you. It's like wearing a pair of cozy slippers or a warm sweater. And since his nemesis is conjuncting his south node, he feels very comfortable with betraying people and becoming an enemy. That's my opinion. And her maniac is there. So there's, like I said, crazy behavior, betrayal, and enemy-like behavior happening. Now, in his natal chart, he has Chiron conjuncting the asteroid Coco. And Coco has to do with drugs, specifically cocaine. So whatever you have an asteroid conjuncting your Chiron, these energies of that asteroid, it's going to be painful for you. It's going to bring up a lot of painful lessons. And this makes sense to me because he's in prison now, or jail, and he's probably going through withdrawal, and Chiron is bringing pain to him with the drugs. Also, his Folsom conjuncts his Lilith at 0 degrees in his natal chart. Folsom has to do with prison, and Lilith has to do with sexuality. So this could mean a couple of different things. This could mean that he's going to go to prison for a very long time due to his sexual deviant activities and or sex trafficking, allegedly. Or it could also mean that he holds other people in prison through those activities. And he imprisons himself, like I said before, which is culminating now. So, that is all I have today. If I had her accurate birth time and his, I could have gotten a lot more information. But I think that this is pretty good, considering that I didn't have their birth times. But I will be back again soon with other Synastry charts, so hit the subscribe button to stay in the loop and like and share, and I will be back soon. Have a nice day.